I'd like to call the school committee meeting to order, today being Tuesday, June 16, 2017. Tonight is the public hearing of the Peabody Public Schools FY 2018 budget. We have a number of people here today, and it being a public meeting, certainly offer anybody the opportunity to come forward and speak, to be heard by the school committee. I would just ask that we keep each person to a few minutes and try not to be repetitive if possible. If we could just start the meeting, though, if everybody could please rise for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And if we could please say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone's presence here this evening. I wanted to open up now if there's anybody that would like to come forward and speak. The microphone is open. It will be right next to Mrs. Dunn. Please, sir, come forward. If you could just please introduce yourself with your name and your address, please.
Good evening. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Antonio Braganza. I'm Guidance Department Head at Peabody High School. And currently, although grew up in Peabody and graduated from Peabody High School, first class, 1972, live in Seabrook, New Hampshire. I've looked at the budget. Not sure I understand that there are still 7 counselors in next year's budget, but since I heard that there were cuts of 2, I'm addressing the cuts. The 2 cuts are Jennifer, if you want to stand up, Jennifer Dinarello and Williams English. Thank you. Jennifer will probably replace somebody down at the lower elementary levels, and William will be looking for a different job, unfortunately. Counselors are a vital part of what happens and what support students get at Peabody High School. I sent you a packet. I don't know if you got it or not. In where I put my concerns and also what counselors do. I don't want to labor it too much. It specifies all the individual things that we do and how vital we are in maintaining students in school and not allowing them to drop out. Currently, there is posted a position of guidance director. I heard being said that that person would take on a caseload. The job description doesn't call for that, as it is on Facebook. It calls for strictly a supervisory role. Eliminating 2 counselors would bring the caseload to over 305 students per counselor. That's without any new students. Traditionally, we get about 140 students a year, either that return or transfer into the district. I believe that the proposed cuts would jeopardize the upcoming PVMHS accreditation and the current coordinated program review. To balance that, it's been proposed that we get a guidance director. I think with the appropriate person, a guidance director makes sense to me. I'm not in this job forever. I've told my staff that within my next birthday I'll be leaving, and I told them that in September. The decreased staff in guidance doesn't make sense to me when we're increasing supervisors, administrative staff from 11 people that service high school students to 13 administrators without direct caseloads. That's well above and beyond most local high schools if you check. Also, the current staffing of counselors at the high school is low in comparison to other high schools in the region. And you have the information that you receive from some local high schools, from Salem to Beverly to Lynn Classical, and some a little more distance with different levels. At this time, Peabody High School is a level 3. Level 3 means a lot of things to different people. I would like to point out that we were at the 22 percentile from the bottom, from comparable high schools. We're now at 17. Nobody that I've heard has asked to have administration with different eyes looking at the problem. We keep having the same people because we trust that eventually we'll move beyond that. But to make the guidance department the target of cuts and bring them from 230 to 305 or 280 if the person were to get a caseload and you change the job description seems way too high for the individual services that must be received by students. I also added, and I think when I hear people saying, I want the numbers of kindergarteners at the Welch School, so you know what the numbers should be of teachers teaching kindergartens at the Welch School, you need to be asking for the same thing with our master schedule. It used to be done on a regular basis. This is my 36th year, so I've been around for a while. And it's the role of the school committee to look to see, is there places where we can make cuts without affecting student services? And you need to be asking for that, it's my suggestion, on a regular basis. You have the equivalent of 42 under-enrolled regular education classes. It is in the collective bargaining agreement that anything under 10 should get the permission of the school committee. I don't believe you've been asked to approve 42 under-enrolled classes of 9 students or less. So I'm not asking that the school committee appropriate more funds. I'm asking that you use them wisely, because guidance services are an essential component of any high school. We have one adjustment counselor. We have a clinic that serves students well, and thank you for putting it there, but they cap it at a certain number. After that, it goes back to the counseling staff. And 305 students in this day and age in a city that can afford it, to me, it doesn't make sense. So thank you for listening, and please look carefully at these before you make your final decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Braganza. Is there anyone else that would like to? Mrs. Haig? If you could just please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Michaeline Haig. I am the head of the English department at the high school. I live in Beverly, Massachusetts. I've been teaching in the city. I think this is year 49. So I've seen a lot of changes and a lot of shifts in the way things have been done in the many past years. I want to speak on 2 particular issues. One, in support of guidance. We have found in our classes that we have many more students with social emotional concerns, and their need to go to their guidance counselors is something which needs to be preserved, and to have enough guidance counselors available to deal with these additional needs of students. Different kinds of coping skills from the past. And so I'm supporting guidance, and we need to keep the staff that we have with regard to that. They do a wonderful job with our students, and certainly are a definite resource for that student that needs to leave the classroom suddenly for some anxiety attack or panic attack. And these are things which I don't remember occurring except in more recent years, and so there's more demand for the services that they do provide beyond the usual things that we think of guidance providing. In addition, in supporting what Antonio was saying about looking at the budget carefully for cuts, I'm not sure that this is a rumor. I couldn't find it listed in the budget as it was listed in a document before this that was a prior version of the budget. We are hearing that a academic dean of curriculum and educational technology is slated to be set for the high school. And I'm wondering what the necessity is for this particular new position. We're hearing that it's going to be a Unit A position, and if so, that means is this the department head of the department heads? We do understand that in past years that our assistant superintendent's workload has been highly increased because of the elimination of positions like ELL director and guidance director and K through 8 ELA director, and we used to have a whole reading program that had a director as well too. And so that means that our top administrators are more burdened than what they have been in the past. However, this job that seems to be proposed does not seem to be necessary. We have some department heads and many teachers who are working with the educational technology already at the high school and providing training and providing backup and providing ways to use the new technology that we are facing. So that's already in place, and that contributes to the collaboration that we have with each other and contributes to building more collegiality and coming up with some innovative ideas for these things as well. And on top of that, the department heads have always been considered the curriculum leaders at the high school because they know their areas of expertise within the discipline, but also they know the pedagogical approaches that are maybe particular to that discipline that may not apply in another discipline, even though there are general practices for teaching and instruction that can apply across the board. So I'm suggesting that that position could not be put into play, and that we certainly, as part of our role as department heads, would work as a group or individually with the superintendent and the assistant superintendent to achieve the goals that are there for curriculum and for educational technology. So it would seem that that would be one less expense in the budget to do so. It seems to be redundant in some ways. So please carefully consider that particular position as well too. Certainly would do everything possible to help Ms. Mertag. We enjoy working with her all the time. And let's utilize the department heads that we have who are the experts in the field and not underutilize them. After all, we are supposed to be the curriculum leaders at the school. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Haig. Anybody else would like to come forward and speak? Please, sir. You'd introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Will English. I'm the most junior guidance counselor in the district. I live in Beverly, Mass. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming out. It's great of you to be here. I'm going to read you a letter. Dear committee, I've really enjoyed my year at Peabody High School. The student body here is amazing, and I'm proud to have grown the junior mentorship program to its largest year yet. This summer, 2 students will have the chance to intern at Children's Hospital through a partnership that I helped develop. And I was really looking forward to Salem State coming here in the fall to do an on-the-spot admissions day. But most importantly, I am gratified by the relationships I have developed this year with students. I am proud of my legacy and stand behind it. I have a large network, a great supportive family, and if needed, I'll find my next step on my career. But I'm concerned that won't be the case for my students. The fact of the matter is, much of my caseload lacks a support system, and indeed may not be all right. Mental health issues are on the rise, and schools are increasingly a safety net. Student services are important, and data supports the fact that added supports lead to better scores. For many of my students, this cut will mean their 3rd guidance counselor in 3 years. Counseling is a relationship-based undertaking. These bonds take time, and in many cases may not be recreated. I strongly urge you to reconsider this proposal and preserve stability and progress for these students. I would very much like to continue to build on what I've accomplished this year. Seriously, the mental health system in this country is broken, and the schools increasingly are picking up the slack. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. English. Anybody else would like to come forward? Please do so. Welcome, Mr. Nelson. If you could just please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Bruce Nelson. I'm the president of the Peabody Federation of Teachers. I want to thank the committee for this opportunity to kind of maybe put a cap on what my colleagues have said. You've heard some specifics from Mr. Braganza, from Mrs. Haig, and from Mr. English. And as you can see, it is not only these individuals but their colleagues who are concerned about direct services to students. Sometimes we make decisions, unfortunately, based just on numbers. Like Mrs. Haig, I've been associated with Peabody Public Schools for many years. And as we all know, times change. And the need for services, and especially guidance services, grows greater each day. It's not the same as when the class of '65 passed through the hallowed halls on Central Street. The issues that are faced by our students today are increasingly complex. We have cable shows that, when misinterpreted, glorify ultimate solutions. And to have as many resources for our students to talk with someone about that, I think, is very important. As Mr. Braganza pointed out, we believe that there are areas that do not affect students that can save the money needed to save to keep this budget realistic. But I just urge you all to think carefully as you make your final decisions on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Anybody else would like to come forward and speak? Please do so. The microphone is open. Okay. We have a full committee today, as well as our business manager, assistant superintendent, and superintendent. I'll open it up now to the school committee for any comments. Mrs. Carpenter?
Thank you. I'd just like to thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate you coming before us and expressing your concern about the position. I too have concern about it, and I want you to know that I support you and I do appreciate you being here. With that being said, as you've heard before, it is very difficult. Through the chair, I'd like to ask the superintendent, have there been any changes within the budget that we need to discuss based on from the last meeting?
No.
No changes?
No.
Okay. At this point, I will start the motions as the finance chair and make a motion to approve the salary line item in the budget for the 2017-2018 school year in the amount of $50,396,930.00.
Second.
You've heard the motion made by Mrs. Carpenter, seconded by Mr. Hockman. Any comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Rosignol?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Through the chair, I'd like to make another motion to approve the non-salary line item in the budget for the 2017-2018 school year in the amount of $21,497,863.00.
Second.
Heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter, seconded by Mr. Rosignol. Any comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Rozignol?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
So it'd be a
Do you want the total?
total.
In the form of a motion, you want the total? I'd like to make a motion to approve the entire line item budget for the 2017-2018 school year in the amount of $71,894,793.00.
Second.
Heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter, seconded by Mr. Rozignol. Any comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Rozignol?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any further comments before we adjourn? Okay. Thank you. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Thank you.